Hello, everyone. Welcome to our radio show. I'm Andrea from Portugal, and today I'm hosting the radio show for you, and we will be talking about traveling, one of my biggest passions. As you know, our radio show is supported by the Center of European Initiatives here in Stara Zagora and the Erasmus Plus program. Today we will discuss about traveling experience, adventures with two very special guests from very distant places from here. First special guest that we will have today, it's Sentil from India and from Costa Rica, Catalina. Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Hello, Andrea. It's Senthil here. I'm doing good and I'm really excited for the interview.
Thank you, Sentil.
Hey
Catalina.
Andre, hello everybody. Greetings from Costa Rica. My name is Catalina and I'm so happy to be with all of you.
So, just to give a notion to our listeners, Sentil, tell us where you are and what time is it there?
So, at the moment, I'm in Vietnam, the capital of the country, Hanoi, and it's 11 p.m. over here. And
So,
it's pretty cold here now at the moment.
so good night.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Good
Yes,
evening, yeah.
here we are on 6 p.m. and it's quite warm and it's very sunny day. And you, Catalina?
Hi Andre, I'm in Costa Rica. I'm back home after 2 years of traveling, and right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning of the Tuesday.
Okay, I can notice that you are at home because I think I heard a bit of a bark of one of your dogs. Is it true?
It's not one, Andre. I have four. I have four very loud babies.
Well, they will join us on the radio show today. They are welcome. Okay, guys. All of us, I believe, we all share this passion on traveling and exploring different places. And my first question to you would be, how do you describe yourself in the way of traveling? Do you feel that you're a traveler or you're a tourist? What do you think are the main differences between these two? Um, what do you think about it? Well,
Oh,
let's go for ladies first. Ladies first.
okay, I go
Okay.
first. The main difference between a traveler and a person who goes on vacation is the budget. In my case, I'm 100% backpacker and a traveler because of two things. The main thing is the budget. I travel with a very low budget, which is around $10 per day. And the second one is because I really love to have the local experience. I try not to go to the very touristic places. I try to share my experience with all the people from the country, like stay with local people, using platforms like couch surfing where I get to enjoy local families and try to see all the things that normally when you go to do tourism you don't see. But the main difference is the budget.
Budget.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on the wallet. Sentil, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I totally agree with Catalina, but to me, the main difference is the perspective. To a true traveler, traveling is all about experiencing the culture, being with local people, understanding them better, coming out from the comfort zone, which a normal tourist will never do. So, to a normal tourist, it's just like visiting the places, finishing the itinerary, whatever they have it with them. But to a traveler, there is nothing called itinerary. So he just goes wherever the path takes him, and him or her. So I feel it's more of merging yourself with the local culture that makes you a true traveler, which tourists will never get to do.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I was reading about it, and it's interesting that some perspectives are that You can notice when you are walking in the street, uh, a tourist is someone that you notice. And the
That's true.
traveler, sometimes you don't notice him because he's immersed in the culture. He tries to learn the local language. He normally travels also for a longer period of time. He stays for more time in the places. So I agree with all of your perspectives. And okay, there is some car passing by. We are having the local experience of some places. um, and yes, I think that's the main difference. I believe that both of them are interest both to do both. It's interesting because sometimes you are working and you only have a few days, so you are a tourist in another place. If you just go for the weekend and you want to visit the main places, but if you have more time and, as Catalina said, little budget, yes, you will go for the traveling. I'm also a travel. I feel that I'm also a traveler.
Andre, we are losing you.
Oh, can you still hear me?
There you
Oh
go.
yeah,
Okay.
now we can hear you.
Okay. So next question. There is some noise. I don't know where is it from. Okay. Next question I wanted to tell you.
Hello, Andrea, we are losing you. We are not able to hear your voice.
It's okay. I'm here.
Yes,
I'm here.
I
Okay,
think
now it's
there's a
better.
car who wants to be in the
I
interview
also think I
because
think
I can listen to it.
yeah, maybe it's in Vietnam, I believe. Would it be?
Oh
Oh
yeah, I'm
yes,
from
there are a
Vietnam.
lot of cars passing by in these streets. So maybe
Yeah,
we have some local.
I'm in the middle of the old town, so yeah, it's
Okay, that's why.
kind of busy now at the moment.
That's why then. Okay, so at least we are getting a bit of the local Vietnam experience. Um, okay, the other question I wanted to ask you is, when did you felt this need to go and explore? Was it from
Uh,
childhood? Was it after that? Do you feel that there was any influence? For example, if you used to travel when you were a child with your parents, what is your personal experience on this?
should I go first?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, fine. So to me personally, yeah, I used to travel with my parents since childhood. But at one point of time, I started feeling that I'm lacking something. Like though I was visiting all the places, I was not happy by the end of the trip. Because usually we go to hotels, like stay inside four walls, what we usually do at a home. So I wanted to do something different. So when I was 14, I started traveling alone. I started backpacking my country, India. So when I started backpacking all by myself, it was an amazing experience. I met new people, new culture. I learned new languages. Then I started questioning my identity. Like I started losing the identity whatever the society gave me in the beginning. I just kept exploring myself better, deeper, which gave me really good understanding. So that's when I decided that traveling can teach you far better than the classroom experiences or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you study from books. So since
So
that time
14.
I'm traveling. Yeah, that's the reason why like I'm traveling, and every day I have new things to explore, and I'm learning new things like every single day.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you said that you started to travel in your own country and you were able to experience different cultures and languages. It's important to explain to some of our listeners that exactly India, it's so diverse that if you go to another state, you have a different language and you can experience a lot of different cultures.
Um,
That's
yeah, that's
true.
true. I'm from the small town called Erode, which is in the southernmost part of the country. So to me, since like till the age of 15, the entire world is nothing but my own state in India. Nothing beyond that or nothing less than that. So when I started traveling, I started realizing that there are much beyond my state in the world. In India is the country. Okay, it's unity in diversity. You will find a lot of diverse cultures, languages. So even I started wondering because every 300 kilometers the language keep changing in India.
That's
So
true.
it was actually difficult for me in the beginning. I couldn't communicate with others, but later I started learning how to communicate with people without any human language. You can just use gestures. That works everywhere.
Non-verbal
Like even in
communication.
Vietnam, at the moment I don't speak Vietnamese, but yeah, I do use gestures somehow. Like convey my messages to them. Like it's a good experience. It's an amazing experience,
Yeah,
I would say.
for sure.
The first time when I left my state, I realized how the culture differs, the language differs. Though we all look similar, though we all sound similar, the languages are different. Like the thoughts are different. So it gave me cultural shock. Though I just traveled 300 kilometers away from my town, I got a lot of cultural shocks. Then I started traveling outside India, which gave me even more shocks. So now I would say that these travelings made me an open-minded person because I'm sure before 6 years I was not this open-minded. I used to like pursue the other culture from my culture's perspective. But now I know that's totally wrong. It's totally incorrect to judge the other part of the world from whatever subjective perspective we were taught by our society. So now whenever I go to different places, I make sure to merge myself with that local culture to understand them better and be on among them, which
Yeah,
gives me
sure.
like
It's
immense
it's an
happiness.
open mind, openings
That's true.
opens our minds. Okay, Catalina, when did you start to have this little bug of this need to travel growing in you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. In my case, it's different. Well, I've been traveling since I'm little, but with my family in the vacation way.
Hmm.
Then, when I grew up, I started a business a few years ago, and I became a workaholic. Thanks to that, I realized that I got sick with a disease named panic attacks, which is a mental disease. So I really needed something to change my complete lifestyle and disconnect myself from everything in order to recover my health. And that's the main reason why I decided to travel the planet for 2 years. So if all the people who's listening to this and is sick, you should travel. It's the best medicine.
Well, we already have to like you learn a lot, and then you can heal yourself. Two major benefits of being a traveler. Uh,
Yeah, actually it was like a survival thing because I was really bad. And then you realize that the life goes too fast and everything is moving so fast that you really need sometimes to unplug yourself from all the things and try to discover other things and see other realities, because that's one of the main things that happened to me. I saw the way people live, that it's completely different. It's a great and amazing experience.
Yeah, even you were saying about you were working and with a lot of stress, and when we travel to some other countries, it's kind of the velocity and the time. The notion of time is so different, and you get this perspective like, oh yeah, it's like 2 hours. It's like 10 minutes in another country. It's so interesting, and
And
That's
so sad because time flies. You don't want to go back.
yeah. Continuing on this, uh, I was well. I met Catalina last year in Nepal, and I was traveling for 6 months. And when I came back, uh, I was for maybe 2 or 3 months in Portugal, and now I'm here in Bulgaria because I felt, oh, I need to go again. I need to move again. And I wonder if when you start to do this in a more long term, for a more longer time, or 1 year or 2 years, uh, if you start to get a bit addicted to it.
A little bit? No. You make yourself a big, expensive, and fun addiction. And also, when you go back home, you suffer what I put this name to this suffering: post-traveling depression.
So then you have another mental disease. Oh man.
Exactly, because you want to go back. You feel because you are so used to be moving every day, and the adrenaline is so high that when you go back home, you feel like you're totally lost. In my case, it was for 2 years, and it became a lifestyle. So I was feeling like I have no roots. That I wanted to be somewhere else, keep moving and everything. Now I'm super happy. I'm okay and full of energy, and I love my place. But at the beginning, I suffered from post-traveling depression.
It's like opposite of homesick. Like we feel travel sick, so we need
Exactly.
to travel
Yeah,
to
that's true.
get rid of the depression.
I also felt it was very interesting, and I was not expecting that. When I went back, I felt that I was looking and appreciating things in a different way. So, these all these long journeys on the bus in the other countries, or on the train, or looking and appreciating the landscapes, when I went back to Portugal, I was doing that, but in my country, and I was looking into the landscape and to the surrounding environment, with with different eyes. I was more fascinated by it, and it was really really interesting. Have you ever felt this?
Well, in my case, I will tell you, Costa Rica for me right now is one of the best countries in the planet. Not only to live in, also to visit. It happens 100% to me too. And now I'm working on a project to invite people to see Costa Rica because I see it with new eyes. When you have those things and you see it every day, you lose sight. But now that I'm coming from a lot of countries, I can really appreciate the beauty of mine. So, Andre, it's not only you. In my case, it happened to me, and I love it. I love it because now I'm happy in the place that I live. And I've always been living here, but now I see it differently.
Yes, it's really really it's a
um,
good sensation. Yes, Sentil?
So yeah, in my case, like let's say before coming to Vietnam, like I was traveling Malaysia. Okay, I'm from a hilly region from India. So the landscape, whatever, like wherever I'm at the moment in Vietnam, like I was volunteering in a place near Hanoi, and I was living in mountains, and even back home I was living in mountains, but the lifestyle is totally different. So though we are all from the same latitude, the fruits whatever I used to get in India, I'm getting it every day here in Vietnam. But the way how we use the fruits, like the way how the landscapes are used by people, everything is totally different. So I know the moment I go back to my country, the way how I see my own home, my very own hometown, they're gonna be totally different because I won't be just seeing it from the same eyes, whatever like I used to see it from.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be different. I would use my knowledge, whatever I gain from traveling, to make it more beautiful. So in case if someone is throwing some paper before, like some polythene paper, before 5 years, I just used to tell them, "Hey, come on, stop it. Let's save the landscape." But right now, after traveling so many countries, I know the methods to stop it. I know how to stop it, in what ways the people will listen to it if you tell them. So I would say it's more of like you gain knowledge and you can implement it when you go back to your country.
Yeah, that's very
And
interesting because sometimes people say, "Oh, why do you go to another country to do something when you can do it in your own country?" But after traveling, actually, we gain so much more skills and different perspectives that we gain a new motivation to help also and to improve our countries. And I can see from your perspectives that's exactly Sentinel, it's your plan, and Kathleen, it's what you're doing right now. So uh, that's really interesting. Now, for you, Kathleen, as a female solo traveler, um, I have to ask you this. How was the reaction of people in your country and on the places that you were crossing um, when they noticed that you were traveling solo?
Well, it wasn't good, honey. People was so scared. They were putting fear into me, trying to convince me not to go. I'm coming from a Latin American country where the people it's very religious, and we have this culture where the parents overprotect the children. It's like seeing a chicken. They put the children under the wing, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't want them to do anything because they're scared something is going to happen to them. And it's also because in Latin America you see many things that normally in some countries of Europe you don't see, like crimes, violence, etc. In my case, they put a lot of fear in me, and they told me that I was gonna be kidnapped, and then I was gonna be raped,
Raped.
and then I was gonna get killed, and how a lady can go by herself without a guy to protect her, and so many things that you cannot imagine. And I didn't care. And thanks God I realized that it was a great idea, because for my experience I can say it's super safe. Nothing happened to me in 2 years, and I feel like it's something that you can do. Most of it, people, because you can realize that when you go travel by yourself, you're never alone. You have thousands of people around you. There's so many crazy backpackers like us traveling around the planet that you will never, never, never gonna be alone.
Exactly. With me it was exactly the same. Everyone was, oh my God, so worried about and saying that I was crazy and being really, really with a lot of fear. Um, or saying, "Oh, you're so brave. How can you be so brave?" And I'm always saying there are so many people doing this. Come on. And I was thinking about this today, and I feel that maybe we know that there are a lot of people doing this because we are doing it. But people that don't travel, they don't have this notion of the quantity of backpackers that are around there, because there are so many. That's so true. Um, and on this subject, about the fears and the things that might happen in a country, I was thinking about this also today, because when you the information that you get from the news and from the media and online, etc., when you search about a country, uh, and the reality that you experience there, what do you feel about it? Do you think it's it's um, it's the same? Do you think the what we get from media it's only a part of the reality, or it's something that it's totally influenced, and it's always just showing you the negative part of the country? What is your opinion on this after comparing what you read about or you heard about a place and then when you experience it in reality?
Um, so when you travel, I would say you will break a lot of stereotypes, like whatever you have read or heard or seen so far. Like let's say before leaving India, to me, the Southeast Asian countries, like I thought Vietnam is some underdeveloped country with no infrastructures, like nothing. But that's totally wrong. Like I'm staying in Hanoi right now, the capital of the city, which got really good infrastructures. Like they do have really good internet. So I'm using high speed internet right now at really low cost. So I never expected such kind of
Mm-hmm.
development in these regions. So the media portrayed that these regions are not developed, all these things in my country, but that's not true. When I came here, the reality is totally different. So same with Nepal. So when I was traveling Nepal, like to me, Nepal, like India, in India, media portrays Nepal as some country, which is like totally dependent on India. But that's like, yeah, like that might be true partly, but they got their own identity, they got their own language. The tourism is totally different from the way whatever Indian media portray about Nepal. So I would say like we all have stereotypes about different countries, and media do pour oil to the flame. Like they do like encourage the stereotypes to large extent. But when you travel, you will see the reality, like how exactly media is taking you or showing you the like they're narrowing down the views. So when you go, you get to explore everything. So you can just tell yourself whether they are true or not. Because to me, half of time, whatever I found online, whatever I read from books, they were all like in one or other way. Either they just portrayed the negative sides or positive sides rather than the realism.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, Andre, I think the media is not fair because the media only put the things that goes wrong on a country, but they don't say all the good things that happens in the country. In my case, the greatest gift that I received in my travel is that I recover my faith in the human beings. People is good. There's bad people in this world, yes, but
The
they're not the
majority.
majority. The
Yes.
majority is the good people. And that's the best thing that happens to me in my travel.
I totally agree with you. Um, it's in the same way as people were saying, "Oh, you're going to India alone, and then you're doing couch surfing and staying with men, and it's so dangerous." We heard about so many things. Why? How can you do that? And no, people are really, really good. I never had a bad experience. And I usually say, yes, okay, there is crime everywhere. These bad things happen everywhere. You just listen to some of them in media because they work. It's unfair, exactly, because they only collect the negative parts. But if you really think about it and if you search, you will find bad news from any place in the world, and something can happen to you in any place. And the reality is, yes, that people are really good, and I felt exactly the same as you. Um, Also, on this perspective, do you, in terms of culture and cultural shock, Senthil was telling us that he was having a cultural shock only traveling for 300 kilometers on his own country. Um, did you ever? Because sometimes people search a lot about a country before they go there. Sometimes they don't search that much. Um, but did you ever had some experience where you did something that it was not very well accepted in that place or culture or religion, or you had like a really, really big cultural shock in terms of behavior of the locals? Did you ever experience anything like this?
In my case,
Oh,
Andre, oh, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, in my case, because I'm a female and I'm Latina, imagine myself at 40 degrees of temperature in countries in Asia, the way I dressed. These people, they're used to their weather and they cover all themselves. And in my case, I was wearing shorts and t-shirts. And for them, looking at me, it's like seeing a naked person because this is not what they're used to. So obviously, I learned that I couldn't dress like that, but I was dying. I was
I
feeling,
know.
I was dying. Oh my God, for me it was like I was sweating my all my body, and I was like, God, I admire these ladies because I don't know how they do this. In my case, that was a big shock because for me it's something that I'm not used to and my body is not used to. So that thing and the other thing in Asia mostly, it's being barefoot everywhere. For me, being barefoot like absolutely everywhere, it was difficult because I'm not used to do it. So at the beginning, I was feeling uncomfortable, and then I realized that I love it, and now I walk barefoot all over here in Costa Rica.
And how people react when you walk barefoot in Costa Rica?
So, but they think I got crazy in my travels. They think
Okay.
that I lose my mind because I'm a happy person now, and that people is not used to see happy
Happy.
people.
Mm.
It's a shock for everybody, but for me, in my case, as a female, I think it was that, like, the dressing part, it was difficult for me.
But do you think that we always should um, respect that and cover ourselves, or sometimes it's also important to dress as you are used to, so that also the locals can have a different perspective and get a bit um, of what it's there outside.
In my case, I will say no. I think if you go to a country, you have to respect that culture.
Hmm.
It's like if I invite somebody to my home, they cannot do whatever I want to, whatever they want to. It's my home. So I cannot go to somebody's home, like, for example, India, and trying to change the mind of 300 million people. I think if you go to a country, but this is very personal for me. I think that if you go to a place, you have to respect the things because you're dealing with people that might feel disrespectful.
Yeah,
And the last
disrespected.
thing that I want to do is to make somebody feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I'm in their country, so it's my responsibility to adapt myself to the country. It's my responsibility to learn the culture, how it works, and try to fit in order to see how they live, because the main reason that I'm going there is to see how they live, how the culture is, and everything. So I'm not gonna try to impose my culture in a place where I want to learn their culture. But that's my way of thinking.
Hmm. Hmm. What do you think, Sentil?
Okay, so to answer your question, I will just tell you my experience, whatever I had in Philippines.
Hmm.
So when I was traveling Philippines, yeah, there people do eat rice, or that's their staple food, and yeah, so does mine. Like back there in my country, yeah, I used to eat rice every day. So we eat the same thing, but like yeah, in India, I used to eat with my hands. I just use my hands on we eat rice on banana leaf using our hands. But whereas in Philippines, people do use spoons and few people do use chopsticks, everything. So when I was with few people, when I was eating with my hand, like everyone just gave me the look. They were like, "Hey, come on, you're using your hands to eat? Is it really hygiene?" So I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this for the past 21 years, like since 1996. I'm just eating with my hands. So like nothing happened to me. It's totally hygiene. Come on, I do wash my hands before eating." So they were shocked like when I was eating with my hands. So yeah, and they did tell me like like it's bad, like you should not eat with your hands, everything. Then I just convince them saying, hey, it's totally fine, I'm eating like this. Not just me, the entire 1.2 billion people in my country eat like this. So it's totally fine. So like this, I have had many experiences in different countries, and even in my own country, different states, I have had different experiences. So I would say each time when you come across something like this, it will be funny and you will learn something out of the funny thing. So I would say whenever something like this happen, rather than like feeling, let's say, guilty, or rather than just feeling, oh, what I have done, just laugh at yourself. It's okay to laugh at yourself. Like that will make you keep going further, so that will sensitize the others also. So just keep laughing at, like, if in case if something goes wrong, don't be scared of like what others will judge about you. So I'm traveling the Southeast Asian countries now, and I just eat with my hands every day, and I'm cool. I'm totally cool with it, and the people around me are accepting it. So it's good. Like, it's good to spread our local culture, and at the same time learn the foreign culture also. So it's more of like two-way
Sharing.
communication. It always doesn't have to be like learn. You can also give something from your culture to them.
It's also sharing.
That's also true. I agree with him because some cases, if the people wants to know and if the people wants to see the culture, it's perfect because you can do your things. Like you can also do that because you can see many people in the world that they want to see your culture too. So if they want to see, it's beautiful for them to teach them also to see other things. For example, in my country, in America Latina, we eat rice and beans every day, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So when I go to other places and they ask me what do they do in country, I give them rice and beans because that's what we have every day.
Yes, exactly, and that's why it's also so interesting when you do couch surfing or this. When you stay with locals, you can sometimes you can cook some traditional food from your country and share your culture. It's an intercultural experience, and it's very very interesting. I remember I had one situation in India. I was in a temple, and there was a celebration, and there was the main deity, uh, and I was with my legs crossed, like for the meditation. But after a while, my back was paining and all, and I needed to change my position. And so I sit a bit on the side, and I just sit with and stretch my legs, and someone look at me like, no, you cannot put your feet, because there was in the wall there was another image, a portrait with another image of another deity, and I was putting my feet towards it, and that's very disrespectful. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, and then I changed my position, and it was fine. So yes, we are always learning, and as Cynthia was saying, we just need to be fine with it, and sometimes we don't know. Sometimes when we already know, like the clothes I was wearing also, I was covering myself, and I believe that being a solo female traveler, you you need to adapt also to the place. I agree with you, Catalina. If you don't want to be the center of attention, you should dress like the locals. Um, yes, I agree with you. Um, and we were talking about also couch surfing. And when you travel, do you try to volunteer in the places where you stay?
Santil, you go first.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. I was just waiting for you to go first. Okay, fine, I can go first now. So to me, usually whenever I travel, okay, even like Catalina, I'm a budget traveler. Like same like her. My maximum budget is $10 per day. So I never stay in hotels. I try my level best to stay in hostels. And more than hostels, I would love to stay. I usually stay with local people. I couch surf. I meet people, so I stay with them for a day or two, and when I stay with them, I do like volunteer, like do some work, whatever I can do there, like farming, like even like cleaning their houses, cooking some foreign dishes for them. So it's like when you stay with people, it's more of like you always get to give something to people, and you can just spread happiness, like you can just share your experiences to them. So let's say I have stayed at many hosts place, though they have never traveled outside their country. They do have like a decent knowledge about the other countries, because they have hosted quite a lot of travelers
Mm-hmm.
from the other country. The same goes with me. Back there in my country, I have hosted like at least I would say so far 30 travelers from different parts of the countries. So it's a different part of the world. So when you couch surf, you get to understand the lifestyle, like I would say, rather than the overall lifestyle, the personal lifestyle of the person. So when you're traveling in some city, you will get to know about the lifestyle of the city, the culture of the city, everything. But when you stay at someone's place, you get to know the real culture of a person. Like it's more of like psychology than sociology, I would say. Exploring the city is like sociology. Living with someone or staying with someone, couch surfing is like psychology. So you get to experience something in depth when you're
In their perspective,
staying with
also.
the people.
Mm-hmm. It's more. I used to say that sometimes uh, when I travel, it's more about the people than about the places, because sometimes when I couch surf, uh, I just spend a lot of time with a person, and I even forget about the, oh, there is this really big place to visit. Sometimes I totally forget, and sometimes I visit it, but other times I'm just spending a lot of time with the person and living as this person is living. What about you, Catalina?
In my case, if I do volunteer work around the world, I think that's one of the main things that I have. That's the only thing that I plan on my trip. There's two ways to volunteer when you are a backpacker. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is in exchange of accommodation and food, but in these cases, what you do, it's volunteer with companies, places, I don't know, hostels, restaurants, etc. But the main thing in your case for that moment, for that volunteering work, is to get accommodation and food. But there's also the second way to volunteer. That is the one that I really like. That it's when you do something good for the country. And that's where I met you, honey.
Exactly.
We went to Nepal to do some volunteer work to build schools for the Nepali children after the earthquake that destroys everything. In this case, you're lucky if you get accommodation and food because sometimes they don't have it. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot give it to you. And in this case, you live like them. You cannot pretend to get a good bed to sleep if they sleep on the floor. So for me, this is like the main volunteer work. And in my travels, I try to do it every time I can.
Yeah.
Every time I can, I'll try to do it in every country that I go. But sometimes it's not difficult. It's not easy to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's totally true. And I have to say that our experience was very interesting because we were for almost 1 week without water and light, and it was funny
And everything,
and everything. So I think it was one
everything.
of the. Um, I was doing actually yesterday. I was doing an interview to go to volunteer in Africa, and they were asking me one of the biggest challenge I had in the developing country, and I think this was one of those, to be without because we were using water from the rain, but then we are so good people that we use all the water to make the cement for the school, and we didn't keep any water for us to wash or for the toilet or for whatever. So we were without water, and without light, and without internet, and without anything. So it was interesting. It was an interesting challenge. But when you are doing these projects, also you find a lot of amazing people, and you always have fun. On this, I know that you have a lot, Catalina. I know. But if you can find a interesting experience that you had on these 2 years, a funny or a strange moment that you remember that you want to share with us, and Sentil, if you have also one to share, please.
Okay, when I was in Cambodia, I decided to go to the north part where nobody goes because I wanted to bath elephants rescued from the circus. So I went by myself and I thought, I don't know why, it's never going to happen to me again, that there were ATMs where I could get money from. But guess what? Guess what? They didn't have any. They didn't know what a credit card was, and they never seen people of the color of my skin. And I'm not white like you, for example.
Hmm.
So when I arrived there, the first thing that I received, they were touching me to see if my skin was real. Because in that place, they have never seen a white people before. When I realized there were no ATMs, and I realized that I only have $10 to survive a week in that place, I thought like, oh my God, I'm screwed. What I'm gonna do? But the funny thing was that the people was so beautiful and nice that they host me, they feed me, and they gave everything to me without asking. They were fighting for me to stay in their places because they never have tourists or visitors. And in one case, we were eating, and this is like the biggest impact that I have in my whole trip. I was eating on the floor because they didn't have a table,
Hmm.
and it was a family like of 8 people, and we were all eating. And when they put the food on the plates, it was only rice. They were eating only rice, but one plate had one egg, and it was mine.
Oh, yes.
So the only thing they had, they gave it to me.
Hmm.
And I feel so honored that day. And I really wanted to cry in the moment because we are females and we cry for everything. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do to deserve this? Because they, the chicken they have, it was skinnier than them. And the only egg the chicken had, when it was tiny, they gave it to me. And for me, it was like the biggest thing in my whole trip. I stayed there for 10 days with $10 that I didn't spend. It was crazy.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Totally, it's really amazing how you can notice the kindness of the people, and even people that have so less compared with our what we have in if you think about Europe or even in Costa Rica or anywhere, because if we are able to travel like this, we have different life conditions, and it's amazing to feel that. And I experienced this also in a lot of places, um, the kindness of the locals. That's really true. Sentil, do you have any experience that marked you?
Oh yeah, so it happened to me in India, one of the hottest place in the world, I would say, a state called Rajasthan. So I was traveling there in summer, where the temp when the temperature was like around more than 50 degrees Celsius centigrade. So even like hers, I was just traveling. So I was in this region called Thar Desert. So I was exploring the sand dunes over there. So like somehow I lost my wallet. I lost all my things, and I just had my backpack, and I was just walking towards a village over there, and the villagers over there have never seen a tourist, I guess. They have never seen a man going alone with his backpack and tripod on his one hand and camera on his other hand. So they all just gave me like a weird look. They were like, hey, come on, like, where are you coming from? Why do you even look like that? So I don't speak their language, and no one, Google Translate, nothing works there. I was somehow telling them that I lost my wallet, I don't have anything with me, I should go back to the nearby city to get some money. The people over there were kind enough to host me there for a night. I did get really good food from them, and like we never like communicated like with the languages. I just talked to that one particular house. Like everyone wanted to host me, but I was just having my dinner from one particular house, and everyone from the other houses, they were just bringing some of the dishes whatever they made for dinner. It's like I think I tasted like more than 20 dishes that night, because people from different houses brought whatever they made for the dinner. So I was just tasting everywhere, and the place wherever I stayed, the host like gave me something made of animal fur, and he wanted me to carry it with me. And the next day I didn't leave, I just stayed with them for almost 15 days, though they just offered me to stay for a night. I totally loved the place. I stayed for 15 days spending nothing, but in return I did realize that there were really like people over there who wanted to study, but they don't have any economical support to educate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So what he did, I know I can't sponsor for everyone's education in the village, because I'm not rich enough to sponsor everyone over there. But yeah, like I did make a small post regarding that on social media, and somehow it reached few people, and someone near that area wanted to help them. Right now, three kids from that village is studying in a nearby town because of the
They
post. So it's
support.
like
Wow.
I stayed with them, and it's like even now I'm in contact with those three kids. It makes me happy. Like it's like because of our traveling, like somewhere, like some part of the world, someone is getting some benefits, and so do we. Like we learn a lot from them. It's like I have never seen people with such good hospitality. Like they just offered me everything whatever they had, like a Catalina's case. Like they just gave me everything. Like they didn't even have money to make roof for their houses, but they just wanted me to like accept their gifts. They were just giving me whatever they have with
Mm-hmm.
themselves, which made me like which that really moved me. That situation totally moved me. And yeah, like it's one of the most moving experiences I've ever had in the past 1.5 years.
Yeah, that's really, really amazing for sure. Yeah, I also experienced this kind of hospitality, and also, as Catalina was saying, because of her skin, it happens to me in Thailand because I have freckles. Someone was asking me, "What's wrong with you? Like, do you have a disease or something?" And I was like, "No, it's just freckles. It's normal." But it's interesting when you contact with the other people and you can show them that there are different persons all over, and experience all this kindness. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm enjoying a lot this conversation, so that's why I'm not stopping to make new questions. Uh, just two more. Just two more. One that I think is very important is, what is your opinion on this tourism based on using wild animals?
Can I express myself?
Yes.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate them. I hate them.
So
Oh
do
my
I
God, they're
totally
so
hate them.
ignorant. They're so ignorant. Please, God, help them, because why? Why do you have to do that? And all the tourists that go to Thailand to take pictures with the tigers,
Yes,
and then
the
with the
elephants.
elephants,
Hmm.
but they put a stick on the behind the elephant ears, and they're hurt, and tigers that drug all the time. Oh my God, I think people should be more responsible and realize that they have that they're how do you say that in English? They're maltratando,
Oh,
hurting. They're
mhm.
hurting the animals. I hate them, and I'm trying not to do it, and I try to make conscience of it, but it's very difficult because people love those pictures. They love them. So
Yes,
I do not agree, and I really hate it. I really, really hate it. I want to kick them all in the moment with that I'm there.
yes, I
So,
agree.
so
I
like,
agree with you.
so do I. I totally hate it. Like I totally hate when people just use animals for promoting tourism. I don't have words to describe how bad they are. Let's say if I want to experience Costa Rica or experience Portugal, I won't bring people from Costa Rica or Spain and put it in a room and just talk to them and just make them do whatever I want to do. Like of course I won't do it, and if I do it, yeah, like everyone say, hey, come on, like everyone will call me a violent man, but we are doing the same to animals, like, but like I don't know, like people love clicking pictures, which makes me feel like really really sad about it. So I think we should all accept the fact, in case if we really want to see what animals do, like how they live, we should go to safaris, we should go and see in their place. We should not bring them to our place and make them do whatever we want them to do. Like let them do whatever they feel like doing. Let us be a passive observers. I think that would be a better way to experience them than putting them in cages and forcing them to do what we want them to do.
I totally agree. And I think it's a bit of our responsibility to share this and to when someone talks to us about it. Oh, I want to go there and experience this, to inform them about the that this procedure, this kind of tourism is hurting the animals, and that's not the the real wildlife, because if it's wildlife it cannot be like this. So yes, I totally agree, and that's why I wanted to make you this question also, and to share this discussion. uh, okay. So for the last one, I want to ask you, what would be an advice that you would give to someone that wants to start traveling, but it's afraid because of what other people are telling them, or what it's watching in the news, something like that, that has this feeling that it wants to go, or she, but I don't know, something is stucking them.
I will say people will do everything, say everything to stop you from doing it. At least, in my case, that's what happened to me. My parents were like, "Come on, like don't travel alone. It's not safe. Like you're gonna regret after doing it, like everything." But no, I'm totally enjoying it, and like Catalina said in the beginning, it's a lifestyle to me now. Like it's more than 4 months. Like I just left my country, and I'm totally happy like doing it. So like never, like people will say anything and everything. Never listen to what others are saying. Just listen to whatever your heart says. Just go ahead with your innate feelings. Don't listen to each and everyone around you. Like you know yourself better than anyone else. So just go ahead with your feelings. You will totally enjoy. You will know how small your town is, or your beliefs are, or your customers, when you start exploring the multiple culture, languages, like everything in the world. Like we will just feel how small our thoughts are, like how negligible we were before traveling. So that's what happened to me, and I will totally recommend. At least I would say like everyone should travel once to experience like who they are. Like it's more of like exploring yourself than exploring the places. So it's like a mirror. When you explore outside, you'll be exploring yourself also. So yeah, like go travel, like just like pack your bags and just go ahead with your I don't have destinations. Like let's say I don't know where I will be traveling tomorrow. At the moment I'm in Hanoi. So just pack your backpack and
And
leave
go.
leave.
Yeah.
Like you will totally enjoy it.
Catalina, what is your advice?
In my case, I will say to the people, at least give yourself the opportunity of trying.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like it, you can always go back to your country. But give yourself the opportunity of doing it,
Yeah, try
because
it,
you will
experience it.
see in the way that there I don't know, thousands of people doing the same. So you won't feel weird. You will feel there's many crazy people as you that want to do those things and then doing it right now. So that will be my
Your advice.
biggest advice. You are listening to two people from the most close-minded continents in the planet, which is Latin America and Asia. And we did it.
Exactly.
So everybody
Yeah,
can do
totally.
it.
Every
Everybody can do it.
That's
If
true.
you don't like it, you can always go back.
Exactly.
But the
It's
only thing that I promise you that you're going to feel the regret of, it's not making it before.
because after you do it, then
Oh,
you
it's a
have
door
the
that you cannot
addiction.
close.
So join us on the club of the addicted travelers.
Travel junkies.
Travel junkies, yes. Okay,
Another
guys.
thing that I will
Yeah, yeah.
say to people is never buy flight tickets, because you don't know where you're going to go or with who. Try not to plan and
Oh,
let it
yes,
flow.
just the first, right? And the rest let it come. Don't plan too
Hmm.
much. Yeah, that's true. Keep the
Exactly.
freedom.
Yeah, like never have itinerary. The road will take you somewhere, and like everywhere there will be something to explore.
That's really really true, and that's really amazing. And
And amazing people to go with too.
mhm, because if you have the free plan, you can totally join someone in the moment. That's and you keep that option open. Okay, guys, our time is over. Thanks a lot for your participation in the show. I'm really, really happy that you were able to join me on this discussion and to share your experiences. I hope you also enjoyed it.
In my case, I love it. Andrea, thank you so much for inviting me. And for all the people who is listening, I really, really, really want to invite you to come to Costa Rica. Even you too, guys, you have to come and visit me
Yes, that's
and
true.
see this amazing country.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you, Catalina. Like, yeah, we will meet up for sure. When I come to Costa Rica, I will knock your doors for sure. And Andrea, I really like I'm so happy after talking to you too. So like thanks a lot, all the listeners. So after this radio, like yeah, just like if you have any thoughts of traveling, like, and if any second thought is stopping you, come on, like just go ahead, like don't think a lot. That's something what I want to tell you all now.
That's really true. Okay, guys, thank you so much for participating. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to our show today. The next show will be on Thursday at 2 p.m. Bulgarian time. We will be waiting for you here, and in the meanwhile, stay tuned with our Facebook page and check out what will be the topic that we will discuss. Now, I will leave you with an Eddie Vedder song that always reminds me about traveling. And thank you for being with us, and enjoy the rest of your week.